Lastly, is also related with Pastor Wayman's topic, integrity and trustworthy. And after that, I 20 minutes of depend on the time, question and answer. Okay, so let's teacher Jason to read the Bible verse in Spanish.
Okay. Vamos a leer en español. Daniel 12, 3 a 4. Los tiempos del fin. Los sabios resplandecerán con el brillo del cielo. Los que guían a muchos en el camino de la justicia brillarán como las estrellas por toda la eternidad. Pero tú, Daniel, guarda en secreto las palabras y sella el libro hasta el tiempo del fin, pues muchos andarán de un lado a otro tratando de aumentar su conocimiento. La palabra de Dios.
Thank you, Jason. It is amazing. The Bible, more than 2,500 years ago, already predict the current situation where many will go here and there to increase knowledge. The AI is using all the human knowledge we put in the internet and human experience, so that they use some kind of statistics to extract the information to give you the best possibility of the answer you are asking. The Bible already tells that AI actually is using this knowledge and increasing knowledge. You can see AI every year there's some kind of exponential growth of using AI. So as a teacher, how to be using biblical principle and wisdom to use AI as a tool. The rise of AI in education. AI tools can support learning, brainstorming, collecting data, and research to increase knowledge. However, they can also reduce critical thinking if overused. Therefore, the goal is to use AI as a tool, not a replacement for thinking. So you have to train or guide your student to be wise. In addition, using biblical principle, help them to focus their goal with Jesus Christ's character, including integrity and wisdom, so that they can put their learning in their own word and roadmap key connection. I will talk a little more about the roadmap later on. It is one of the powerful tools I have been using as a physicist to join all the different concepts together by visual grouping or roadmap. So first, there's a study from MIT. It's small. I just give you a. There's something here. Well, anyway, I will briefly introduce this study. There is some kind of EEG brain activity research from the MIT Media Lab. It is in the preprint published last year, about 1 It's not a formal peer-reviewed published yet, but all the data is still very helpful to understand what happened if the student use AI too much AI, what happened? Because it's so easy to get the answer from AI. If they overuse, the study show that there is some disadvantage. They will have lower attention engagement, lower executive control, and more difficult to recall what they have learned. So this study is alarm telling us we have to be careful with AI. Doesn't mean you prevent them not to use AI. We as a teacher, we have demonstration the best use of AI. The next slide. Okay, so how to deal with AI? There's some suggestion. Use it as a brainstorm idea. Use AI to search terms, create baseline concept, and explore general background topic. I will have some examples. One thing very important. Right now there is a lot of fake, that means not real, in the internet. How you can distinguish the truth versus the false or fake information? The wise use of AI is at least have 2 or 3 resources of AI. Don't just trust on one AI website. You can use it for information as reference, but don't trust it until you verify. I try to check free AI. For example, the speed of light, how long it takes from the Earth to the Moon. I ask that question. I ask free AI. 2 AI give me the correct answer, less than 2 seconds. But 1 AI tell me the speed of light from Earth to Moon more than 2 hours. That's wrong. With no common sense, light travel the speed of light is very quick, 3 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. It only less than 2 seconds, maybe 1.5 seconds from the Earth to the Moon. But the AI tell me 2 hours. That is wrong. I quickly tell the AI authority, hey, you don't want to misleading the student into wrong answer. I tell them, I show them the example. So very careful. They may not give you the correct answer. Double check and verify all AI related answer with at least 2 trustworthy external research sources. That means if they are reference, you click on it, double check it's correct. 2 years ago, when I asked the AI give me citation, there's some citation, they make up the citation. When I check it, the journal, they may have the journal, but you look at the volume, the page number, a lot exists. So be very careful. So, and fact comparison. Carefully compare dates, figures, and different perspectives before we reach a conclusion. So the teacher, at least these 3 important criteria to help you to distinguish the best use of AI. How about students? What students should do? They need to understand clear and actionable learning guidelines for standard day-to-day work versus the teacher at the beginning of the class, if possible, explain what can be used for AI and what cannot be used for AI. So they understand. Next slide, okay. Yeah. So students should dynamic study with the AI. There's something helpful to study because in the class they may not fully understand what the teacher says. So they can go home or doing a teamwork group project to ask AI for fresh cards. Remember yesterday I was saying I don't know how to study English language until I make a game motivate me using the fresh card. I shuffle the fresh card and then do a game for myself. I learned 1,000 words by the fresh card. You can encourage the student to do the same thing. Fresh card is very powerful to learning a language. Not only that, learning science subjects and learning things that the student need to familiar. So you can ask AI to generate the fresh card or ask them to practice quiz questions. I will show you some example. You can ask AI, hey, this topic I'm not familiar. Can you generate some quiz for me? They can do it at home. Okay? That is kind of like a tutor. Right? So you have extra help to make sure the student understand what you are teaching. So in that sense, it is your teaching partner, 24 hours available for the student, as long as they make wise use of AI to expand the mastery of class material. And most important, pauses over answers. First, answer the concept question by student. They can generate a quiz, and then they have the student to choose what is supposed to be. Then use AI to check the correct step and confirm the thinking process. I use example here. This is a very simple quiz question. Why do plants need sunlight? For example, student either make a multiple choice or just enter the answer directly. So plants need sunlight because it helps them grow and stay healthy. Okay? But this is too general. You can ask AI to detail the step for students to check and learn. So the AI can show 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 4th step. Plants absorb sunlight through their leaves. Sunlight provides energy for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis converts water and carbon dioxide into glucose. The plants use this food to grow and survive. So this AI, it could be little more information than the teacher teach, or review for them so they can get a better understanding of the teaching material. And also use an earlier diagnostic. When getting a question wrong, you can ask a quiz and multiple choice. If they choose it wrong, you can ask AI to tell the student why it is wrong. Wow. That is kind of powerful. I use example. The same question. The student answered, plant needs sunlight mainly to keep warm. You know it. It is incorrect. The AI tell them. And then the student asks, why is wrong? Why wrong? You can just check. Why is wrong? AI respond to concept. So misunderstand. You are confusing. The role of sunlight for plants with the role of heat for living things, correct concept, and so on. It's just photosynthesis. So this they can do the go home either assignment or learning or prepare for exam and quiz. So when the exam is coming, for example, choosing the science class again, use AI as tutor. You can ask AI to make a study plan 6 weeks before final exam. The study strategy, you can ask AI on this. For example, 4 study days per week. Each session 20 minutes or 45 minutes. So make sure if the student can train himself, they are motivated because they do it their own arrangement of studying. Then you also can ask the AI to review days per week because the more you review, the better you retain what you learn. And then ask the AI to help for the practice quiz. So all this, ask AI know how to ask questions. Sorry, I forgot to push the button. Yeah. So this is the ask AI know how to ask questions to achieve more. You know, in Chinese learning, there is a word translated to knowledge or understanding, but in Chinese it's very meaningful. Hokman. That means learn to ask. I don't have equivalent direct translation, but you just want to translate is learn to ask. I'm not sure about Spanish. In order to achieve education and knowledge and understanding, you need to learn to ask. AI can achieve that. You motivate the student to learn to ask. Sometimes they may not learn to ask in class because they just shy or they afraid people may laugh at them. But you don't have this restriction in AI. You can always ask the right question to AI and achieve the knowledge. So those are examples of how to learn to ask. For example, give me 5 quiz questions on today's topic. Explain this topic at a grade 10 level. You can specify AI if the grade 9 or grade 11 at that lower level. What are the most common misconceptions students have about this topic? Number 4 is interesting. Create a summary sheet for this chapter. You know, if AI can summarize a lot of things. You can enter 1,000 words and ask them to summarize in 30 words. However, if they just use AI as summary, it still cannot fulfill the education learn to ask. You have to ask more to keep you in track in learning process. Don't just summary. You need to take the notes and feed it to the AI and generate a reasonable learning summary so that the student can understand. Those are, for example, if they are more curiosity, they want to learn more about photosynthesis. Okay? Maybe at that level they not yet learn too detailed, but at home they can do extra bonus learning. Example. I give you the example. You ask AI today, for example, learning photosynthesis in grade 10 level. So you just type in, I am curious about what makes photosynthesis possible. You want to limit the AI to be just like If you don't limit it, they may give you 500 words. They may get lost. Maybe get too boring. So you ask them to precise and picture to explain. Picture help the student to understand even better, because our brain is created have two sides, as you know. The left side is analytical. The right side is visual. If you can manage to interact better with analytical mind on the left brain and the right brain visualize, that can enhance their learning. So this is just an example. I won't go through the detail. So you can see the picture was on the right hand side. In here, it's very helpful. If they want to learn more, this is just a bonus learning. Some genius students, they feel too boring on the subject. They can explore more. So you have, they can even give you more detail. Okay, right now, the student should not use AI during course for tests or exam specified by teacher. Yes, they use AI, but you don't want them to just rely too much on AI without thinking. So, one thing to identify if the student really learn, understand in the final exam, you can tell them no AI. Put your cell phone down, or don't put your whatever the school policy. You can ask them not to use AI in the final exam. Okay, so in that case, they will understand that they cannot rely anything on AI, otherwise they may fail the final exam, right? And should not copy directly from AI without checking accuracy. Sometimes it is wrong, as the example I share with you. So they will double check. Submit all AI generated work as their own. Do not. You have to give credit. This is a fair society. Whoever contributes, whatever the reference, you should give a credit to the material you are using. The last point is important. I am teaching in Christian University. They are very strict policy. Any material belong to the school or the teacher, unless the teacher tells the student they can use it. Do not use those materials put in AI, because AI is public. Do not put students' name, because it turn around can become public to other people. So some private information, not only for school, teacher, even family, do not put it in internet or AI chatbot. That could be risky. People may know what you are doing. So the material you ask usually is very general. For example, the photosynthesis, those are very general information. So those you can ask. So this you have to specify to the student at the beginning. Whatever the PCA policy is, let the student know that certain private information, do not put it in. So the teacher and AI, the strategic guide. Thank you. I already said that upholding clear institutional or school policy, building goal-oriented rubrics. The grading guideline tells the student that the teacher will grade it based on, for example, the final exam no AI, or how they present the material, how they will grade it, and then update the boundary, because AI improve or evolve so fast. You have some kind of understanding, set the boundary. Assignment and feedback prioritize explanation, application, and reasoning for deeper response. Give students more opportunity to think and learn. That's very important. So that's why, to summary, teachers should give a clear rule, label tasks clear limits, categorize tasks as low AI, independent development. You want them to learn under certain situations. If you use AI to write too much, you lose the skill of writing, right? So you can use it to assist you to collect information, but in certain cases, to ask them to write or give a class presentation, the teacher will ask, the student can ask. So if they don't know the material, they will most likely show that when they present. So once they try it, they understand they have to prepare more for presentation. You can also specify limited AI use. For example, brainstorm assistant.